Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. This time, it's a super hyped fragrance called Lair du Desert Marocain by Andy Tar. This was released back in 2005 and it's created by a genius. Andy Tar is actually a molecular biologist. Yeah, very famed. And he left his field and he sort of started creating fragrances back in 2005. This is, I think, the second of his creation. That's why at the top of the bottle, you'll see 02. And I think he has got seriously good nose. To create something like this, you have to be a genius, honestly. So, this is a super hyped fragrance. So and there are tons of reviews on this. So let me just give you my take, yeah? Now, I've already got it dry down. And I don't think I'll waste another spray on myself because it's a very strong fragrance. So I'm going to spray it on a blotter and let me tell you how this fragrance begins. It's very interesting. Okay, the moment you spray it on paper, you'll see the huge difference between the fragrance, how it smells on skin when you first spray it, and on paper. It's massively different. Okay. So I'll go with what I smell on my skin. When you first spray it on your skin, you will imagine straight away, you will see what a big mistake you've made by blind buying this fragrance. It's a huge spice blast, massive. It smells as if you're sitting in a spice shop, quite literally. Yeah, it smells of spices which I would only see it in a kitchen cabinet. The biggest and the most prominent one, which I don't get on paper, is asafoetida or asafoetida, which I've never smelled in a fragrance. And because I cook and I use asafoetida a lot, I picked it up straight away. Then you get cumin, you get coriander, and here the coriander is dry. This fragrance is absolutely arid, like sitting in Morocco, like going to Morocco, walking through a souk, and just walking past a spice shop. Literally, I'm amazed how different this fragrance smells on paper. It is full of spices, and then the spices have this lemony aspect. And I'm almost certain they've used LME, or Andy has used LME here because it's quite resinous. But the notes breakdown tells me that they've used bergamot or lemon or lime even. That's what I think they've used. And there's a huge sort of dose of petitgrain. There's a smoky edge to this fragrance in the opening, the lemony bit and the spices. And there is also a simple peek through, if you like, just labdanum just peeking through. And this is basically a labdanum bomb. This fragrance is completely centered around a labdanum-like aroma chemical. So that's how the fragrance starts off. The fragrance becomes much, much more smokier and stronger. The fragrance actually wears you. There is no way you can wear this fragrance initially. Yeah, it's almost like a wrestler pinning you down. This thing is seriously strong and it's completely overpowering. Yeah, more than one spray is gonna kill you. This is a serious fragrance, very, very strong and full on spicy. No sweetness, no pleasantness. It's full on spices. Yeah, absolutely reeking of spices. So I don't know why this is so hyped in the opening. Based on the opening, most of the newbies, if you're a newbie and you smell this, it'll scare you for life when it comes to niche fragrances. This is not a newbie friendly. I don't know why this is so hyped. Initially when you smell this, I'll immediately say I'm not going to wear this because this is way, way too spicy and overpowering. Yeah. Middle stages is when the fragrance starts to turn. The fragrance becomes a bit more amicable. It's more wearable. Why? Because there are 2 or 3 notes which tone down the fragrance. The biggest one, and it's invisible, is lavender. The fragrance brings in a smooth lavender with geranium, a watery geranium, just to tone it down. It's just too much. When you first spray it, it's just too much. Almost off-putting, in terms of spices. And I love spices, but it's just all spices, rough, smooth, smoky, dry, arid spices. Unless you want to smell like a spice bazaar, I wouldn't recommend this. for a newbie. For an experienced nose like me, I knew it was going to change, so I was okay. The late dry down is when the labdanum shines. Yeah, very nice, beautiful, warm labdanum. So amber resin with labdanum and vetiver, I believe. Oh, sometimes I get vetiver, sometimes I don't. But there's this beautiful greenness to the fragrance. Nice green, little tinge of greenness. It's really nice. The dry down of this fragrance is completely the opposite of the opening. Opening is, as I said, it's unbearable. It's almost unwearable. Yeah, it's like a wrestler pinning you down, forcing it down your throat, that kind of thing. It's very, very difficult, very challenging. Dry down, extremely beautiful, smooth labdanum. Just amazing. And I know that it's not pure labdanum. It's basically an aroma chemical which is very similar to, now I get it, that MFK's Grand Soir basically uses this aroma chemical and uses it all through. Yeah, and it smells, Grand Soir basically is the dry down of Lair du Desert Marocain. As simple as that. But I'll review Grand Soir very soon. So at this stage, the fragrance, the texture of the fragrance is completely changed. It's like an ambery sort of resin with very fizzy qualities. And I really like that, the fizziness of this fragrance in the dry down. It's still very dry. It's not sweet at all, but it's fizzy, it's energetic, and it's ambery. It's really good. The texture of the fragrance in the dry down is really nice. So ups and downs. Number one, upside. This is a complex niche, and I like that. This sort of, it's still unbearable, this sort of fragrances are very rare. You get a really good complex fragrance, yeah? So that's the biggest upside. The second upside is the quality of the materials. This is a synthetic fragrance. It doesn't smell very natural. But in spite of being a synthetic smelling fragrance, the quality of the materials leading to the complexity of fragrance is quite an experience. Very good experience. And number three, the performance. The fragrance has tremendous performance. You can easily get 14 hours, if not 16. Yeah, projection is for 1 hour to 2 hours. It's almost unbearable if you go 2 sprays. But if you keep it to 1 spray and don't wear it on your shirt, you're going to get at least 1 arm's length to 2 arm's length. It's fairly moderate. If you wear it on your shirt, you'll fill up the room and it'll make life uncomfortable for yourself unless you're used to such fragrances. So it's kind of a medium, kind of a sillage on skin. Longevity tremendous. And I would say sillage is also medium. I don't get huge amounts of sillage, but I get decent amount of sillage. 1 spray under my shirt. I'll never wear more than 1 spray. This fragrance is too smoky and weird for more than 1 spray. Oh, too strong. So, downsides. Number one downside. This is a hyped fragrance, and what happens when you see a hyped fragrance? Newbies go and buy it, and they do a blind buy. This is not blind buy safe. Test it out and don't buy into the hype. This fragrance should never have been hyped, because normally, one big reviewer comes and reviews it and sings and dances about this fragrance, and others just, it's like a choir, mostly in our fragcom. Sadly, most people don't give you the real view, and I'm just trying to change that. This fragrance should have never been hyped. It's absolutely not for beginners. No way, right? Next one. When a hyped fragrance is hyped, or when a fragrance is hyped, people assume automatically you'll get compliments. Who's going to compliment you if you're going to smell like a spice shop? And that too with terrific projection. You'll get very little compliments unless they smell the dry down. So that's the other assumption people make with hyped fragrances. This is very difficult to get complimented on, right? And the third one is wearability. Where will you wear this? Yeah, if you wear this to an evening occasion or to your private engagements, you'll be fine. If you wear this to work, if you wear it on your shirt, definitely people will realize and might complain, I don't know. But depends on who smells. But the wearability is a big issue for me, yeah? So, what seasons to wear this in? Cold weather. Labdanum fragrances are brilliant in cold weather. Autumn is terrific for labdanum. And this is a predominantly labdanum dry down, plus spiciness, The cooler it is, I think the better it will smell, yeah? So it's pretty medium at the moment here in the UK, 8 degrees, 9 degrees, so it's pretty medium. I think it'll smell better if I spray this in dead of winter, like freezing temperatures. So cooler it is, the better it'll smell. Age groups, again, 30 plus, This is basically a fragrance of a bodybuilder. You have to have an intimidating physique to really go with this fragrance. This fragrance is not for your chocolatey, normal Joe blogs. This is not for them. This is a fragrance for somebody who's got imposing physique. Yeah, it'll really suit them. It's got a lot of muscle in it, a lot of spices. Very, very, unusual. No sweetness at all. I will never wear this to a date. Absolutely never. So, limited wearability, 30 plus, 35 plus is the age group. Compliment factor, very, very low. I think I've covered all aspects. Am I as impressed as this fragrance is made out to be? No. 2 reasons. Why? Number 1, this is so difficult and complex to wear. Very difficult because it just, pins you down for the first 2 or 3 hours. That's not a good fragrance experience. The other one is the fragrance it's been created in an artistic fashion. It's a complex fragrance. If you want to enjoy the artistry, you can enjoy it. But is this a fragrance that should be hyped? I don't think so. I don't know why this is hyped. There are many amber fragrances which can do much, much more than this and get you compliments. So if you rule out the compliment factor, if you rule out the hype, this fragrance is pretty ordinary in terms of what it does. I mean, it's not ordinary in scale, but in effect, the effect it's having on me, it's pretty ordinary. I mean, heavy spices followed by labdanum, there's, okay. I smell better amber fragrances. So am I impressed? I'm not impressed. I don't know why this is hyped. How many marks will I give it? 7. Push. I would give it to 6 because it's very expensive. For 50 ml, the value for money is very low for me. 50 ml, you're going to spend 95 euros plus postage and packaging. It'll come to about 100 pounds, 2 pounds an ml, right? Can't wear this anywhere apart from, a few select occasions, and there are better amber fragrances in the market. I give it the fact that this was released back in 2005, so there's been like 15 years. So things move on, and there are better fragrances available. I appreciate the fragrances' artistic aspects, but will I buy it? No way. So how many marks? 6 to 7, in between 6 and 7. I'm not that impressed. I don't understand why this is so hyped. Hope you enjoyed the review, fellas. Take care. Bye-bye.